Hey everybody, off the Mike Sports Network here. Some breaking news in the NBA to start the day. News that I didn't want to talk about, or was hoping not to talk about. Uh, it is official. Kyrie Irving is out for the remainder of the NBA season with a torn ACL in his knee. This was expected. It didn't look good. They say knee sprain. Usually, that's the precursor for a torn ACL. So he's done for the year. Um, that was the primary scoring option for the Mavs when they made this trade to get rid of Luka Doncic, sends him to the Lakers for Anthony Davis, who was then hurt. Their other two bigs are hurt. I talked about this last night in another video. It is now more clear than ever, especially now that we know the status of Kyrie Irving for the rest of the year. The Mavs got a punt on the season. They've got a punt. And I'm going to quote my friend Andrew Marks, who you guys have seen here on this channel, in terms of like how he's one of the biggest Mavs fans. I know, Danny, you too. Um, this has been a season from hell for the Dallas Mavericks, a team that was 3 wins from an NBA championship less than a year ago, is now probably going to just actively just try to tank and not make the playoffs whatsoever. There's no point. There's no reward for the season anymore. Because in my opinion, without Kyrie Irving, this team is at most first, maybe second round team, depending on how healthy Anthony Davis is. They may be struggling. They're probably just a borderline playing team. They may not even just make the field at all. If, like I said, it's going to be hard. They're going to really have to try hard to lose games down the stretch of the season, because they're 3.5, 4 games clear of Portland and Phoenix are the only two teams that I realistically can see, passing them in the standings. San Antonio's down near the bottom. Maybe San Antonio can make a run, but without Wemby, I just don't see it. So, but yeah, this has been a season from hell, man. And it didn't have to be this way. Ownership got petty. They didn't like Luka Doncic. They didn't want to pay him money, and they traded him away in the middle of the night. And then, you know what? This is almost like it's karma for what they did, which was a cardinal sin in this league. You trade away your top star, as young as he was, for pennies on the dollar. You don't negotiate at all. You don't tell anybody. And you do it to a rival team. And almost immediately, everything that could possibly go wrong for the Mavericks has gone wrong. And to me, it's almost like the universe just sending them a message and saying, listen, just admit that you fucked up. And I know people are going to look at this and tell me, saying, Mike, you're acting too quickly on this. Your opinion's a little bit too strong or too early on in the situation. Yeah, I can see that, but the signs were there from before this trade that this was a bad idea and this was a huge risk. And when all the things that, like, we're barely a month in since this trade happened, and it's already clear as day that Dallas lost this trade. And their goal was to win a championship this year. That ain't happening. They've got next year and they've got the year after that. And I don't think they're winning a title that year, because Oklahoma City's going to get better. Denver's still going to be around. There's other teams. The Lakers look like a juggernaut with Luka, and you fed that beast. That's your fault. Um, Listen, I feel terrible for all my Mavs fans for life, my MFFLs on this app, including Danny, including Andrew, so many other people that subscribe to this channel. I'm sure I hate it for Mavs fans. I really, really do, because that's one of the great fan bases in not just in the NBA, but in sports. Um, and it helped that they had an owner that knew what he was doing in Mark Cuban. But since this team was sold to another entity, and there's some shitty people involved in that, and with their political beliefs, which I won't get into. That's irrelevant to this conversation. But since then, like, they go to a finals, they think they know better, and look what it got them. Nico Harrison. Who knows? Maybe he's going to take the heat. Everybody wants to fire Nico. A lot of this is ownership too, but I see a lot of Here's the crazy thing, and this is a comparison that some people may not like that I make, because obviously it involves a deplorable human being. There's no real deplorable human beings in this trade. This reminds me a lot of the Cleveland Browns with the Deshaun Watson trade, because if you remember, granted, there was also a huge contract that was unprecedented that was attached to this, but the Mavs are kind of screwed here. Like, there's really no way to rebuild this thing down the road. Kyrie's old. Uh, Anthony Davis is old. They've got young players on their team, but the key young player that matched up with the timeline is now in Los Angeles. So this is what happens when ownership, you have a personal issue. Ownership kind of didn't like Baker Mayfield, so they moved off of him, and it led to this just disaster of a trade. And the Browns was more like a slow death. This has happened in a month. Really, like this is as quick as I've ever seen. A disastrous result from a trade. So, um, heart goes out to Mavs fans. The season's over. As Andrew said, I quote it again, season from hell. Season from hell. If you Dallas Morning News or any of those other people, give credit to my man Andrew Marks for that headline, because this has been a season from hell for the Dallas Mavericks. Hell, it's been a season from hell for, the two major sports teams. I mean, the Stars have always been good, and I think they're pretty good this year. That being said, I haven't been as locked in on the NHL as I normally am, but it's been a bad year for Dallas sports. It really has, because between the Cowboys and their disastrous season, and now hiring a, not going to say unqualified, but hiring a different coach, and then of course, obviously, you talk about the Mavs and just NBA Finals to now. Are they going to make? Are they going to try near the end of the season here in the last 20 games to make the play-in? Because they still can, move up to 6, but it's really on them now, because I don't see any point. I don't. You don't have Kyrie Irving. You don't know how long you're going to have Anthony Davis. And it's just, I hate it for Mavs fans. But, Nico Harrison, I think his name's Patrick Dumont. I forgot who the other lady is who runs Adelson, I believe is her name. But I think it's Miriam Adelson or something like that. But yeah, listen, you reap what you sow. And you guys you wanted out of the Luka Doncic business. This is the universe telling you that you fucked up. You messed with the wrong guy, and karma's going to come kick you in the ass, and it already has. And I don't know what the future holds for this team. I damn sure know this year they ain't winning an NBA championship, especially without Kyrie Irving. But that's the big news. We'll have a lot more coming up here on the channel. Going to potentially do some more live stuff. Thanks to everybody who subscribed, and memberships available as well. Working on some new ideas for that. Thanks so much. I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.